We are looking at qualitative analysis 2 lab, and it is the data table on page 3, and we're going to complete that. All right, so here is a data table which we're going to complete in this box today. Just going to some instructions. I have done this. I've rinsed out 4 test tubes, and I've actually had 1 milliliter, 10 drops of the magnesium, calcium, strontium, and barium to each of 4 test tubes. And now I'm going to add CO3 minus to them so we can go pretty quickly, and then you can see the results. Going back to this data table, I'm going to be going right down this first column. And again, I have the magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium in there, 1 milliliter, 10 drops, and then I'm going to add 1 milliliter, 10 drops of the CO3 minus 2. We'll see the results. We'll repeat that for CrO4, for SO4, and OH. I'm probably going to go to full screen here so you can see things, and then we'll summarize to make sure you're getting the right data tables so you can figure out how to fill out your flow chart on the following page. So here we go. I'm going to go full screen here, I think. And notice what I'm doing. I'm going magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium down the list, and then I'm going to add CO3 to that. Okay. Let's see. So our first step is I have this. Let me get where you can see this pretty well. And I have my magnesium. I'm going to add CO3 to it. Get this in a spot where you can see that. Give you a nice backdrop. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see. Do I see a difference between these two? Pretty distinct cloudiness. So I would say that's definitely a precipitate for magnesium and CO3, mixing it around. It's kind of clouded up, but if I centrifuged it, my guess is it would sink to the bottom. Let's go to the next one right here. And that is going to be, I'm going to add the CO3 to the, hey, can you close the door? I'm trying to video here. Thank you. Okay, so the next one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, that looks cloudy. I was going to say clearly that looks cloudy, but maybe that would be confusing. Well, it looks like I'm getting cloudiness here, and I'm getting okay, that's not much difference. It looks like all 4 test tubes are showing cloudiness. Okay, compare that to a clear test tube. I think you can see a distinct difference. So it looks like we got a precipitate at each one. Looks like a white cloudy precipitate for magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium with carbonate. I'm going to go down the next column, and we'll go back to the data table where you can actually see the things and make sure you do this. So I'm going to go down the next column, and this time, again, I loaded up my magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and this time I'm going to add CrO4. All right, so I'm going to look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, it's yellow, but it's the yellow solution I'm adding. It's still transparent. So we're going to say that that is no precipitate right here. Okay, that was with the magnesium. Adding the drops a little quicker. This is with the calcium. Again, no precipitate. This is with the strontium. Again, no precipitate, clear yellow. And this is with the barium. Holy precipitation. It's kind of it looks white maybe, but it's kind of a yellowish white. And I think we had barium chromate in the last one here. So if I look at these 4 test tubes, I'm going to see 3 of them with no precipitate and the last one with a precipitate. So the 3 without a precipitate are right down the list: magnesium, calcium, and strontium, no precipitate. But the barium does precipitate with the chromate, forming this yellowish, whitish yellow barium chromate solution. Okay, so that one, only 1 positive or 1 precipitate reaction, and that was with the barium. Okay, I'm going to go right to the next one. And again, I've loaded up my magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. I'm going to add SO4 to this and 10 drops. Okay, that looks pretty clear with the magnesium. Let's go to the calcium. Looks pretty clear. Let's go to the strontium. Okay, definitely cloudy right there. And let's go to the barium. Even more cloudy with the barium. Okay, so with SO4, I have the first two are clear. That's the magnesium and the calcium. And then the strontium and the barium are cloudy. Oops, knock this thing over. So that's the third test. And now our final test is with the NH4OH, which is ammonium hydroxide. And I'm going to go to my first test tube, add my 10 drops. This one's kind of interesting. I look at it and it's kind of clouding up. And sometimes I do a quick flick of this thing and it almost looks like a gel. So it looks like there's little bubbles in there in a gel. So this is kind of a unique precipitate. Probably just looks cloudy to what you're seeing, but it's almost like I can look in there and see little bubbles and it looks almost like, I don't know, maybe like fish eggs going down the side or gooey, not really oily, but interesting. Okay, I'm going to add this to the next one, which is the calcium. And I'm not seeing anything happening there. A little bit of a dirty glass. Okay, on this one, but no reaction. And then the next one I'm going to add to the strontium. And again, no reaction there. And the last one I'm going to add to the barium. And no reaction right here. So the only one that's really forming a precipitate is the magnesium. You can see the other ones are clear. So magnesium and OH forms a gel-like precipitate, and the other three are not forming a precipitate. So I think that would be all our data. Let's go back to the data table so you can actually see this. And I'm going to just go to a shared screen to make sure we have this right. So going down the first column, I have magnesium with carbonate, and all four of them form a white precipitate. Try to give you a little black backdrop to see that. So cloudy white for all four of these going down this column right here. Where's that? Right down here. Okay, going to the next set of tests, I'm going to go to what I have here. You can see that. But the first three, magnesium chromate, calcium chromate, strontium chromate, are no reactions. It's just yellow solution. But then the BaCrO4 would be a precipitate in this last box. Only one precipitate, the BaCrO4 in that column. Let's go to the third column, and that is the SO4. So I'm going to bring that up here. You see that there. So the first two, magnesium sulfate and calcium sulfate, are clear, but the last two, the strontium sulfate and the barium sulfate, are precipitates. So we have that. And then our final one is the hydroxide. And the first one is cloudy. It's almost like a gel-like cloudiness. So white, cloudy, gel-like precipitate with MgOH. And then the last three calcium, strontium, barium are clear or no precipitate in those. So that's a summary of your data table. You know, if you're not seeing it, just let me know if there's questions. And then we're going to use that to figure out the flow chart. In our next video, you might be able to look at that and say, oh, I can figure out the flow chart based on what I'm seeing. So that might be a good challenge for yourself. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have questions.